Hash resting in a warm mountain cabin in the rain. The rain has been falling for hours, and you are safe inside a small cabin in the mountain. You sit by the window, wrapped in a thick blanket, and you listen to the steady rhythm of the water against the roof and the glass. The sound is not loud or alarming. It is gentle, constant, like a lullaby that has been playing since before you arrived and will continue long after you are gone. Outside, the world is dark and wet, but inside the cabin, everything is warm and dry. A fire burns in the stone fireplace, its flames dancing slowly, casting soft orange light across the wooden walls. The air smells of wood smoke and something else, perhaps herbs drying somewhere, or perhaps simply the clean, earthy scent of a place that has been sheltered from the rain for a very long time. You look around the cabin, taking in the details you might have missed when you first arrived. The walls are made of logs, rough-hewn and solid, and they have been here for many years, perhaps many decades, protecting people from storms just like this one. The ceiling is low, but not claustrophobic, and it makes the space feel cozy, like a nest or a burrow. The floor is made of wide planks of wood, worn smooth by countless footsteps, and they creak softly when you walk on them, as if they are speaking to you, telling you stories of all the people who have walked here before. There are small touches everywhere that make the cabin feel like home. A woven rug by the fireplace, a few plants in pots on the windowsill, a collection of stones and shells on a shelf, a photograph or two on the walls. Someone has cared for this place. Someone has made it beautiful. And now you are the beneficiary of that care, that beauty, that attention to detail. You have nowhere else to be tonight. No one is expecting you. The rain has made the roads too wet and too dark for travel. And you have given yourself permission to stay here in this small space and let the storm pass around you. You are not trapped. You are protected. There is a difference, and tonight you feel it in every breath. You arrived here earlier today, or perhaps yesterday, and you remember the moment you stepped inside, how the warmth wrapped around you like a welcome, how the sound of the rain on the roof was immediately different from the sound of rain on your shoulders. You remember hanging your wet coat by the door and feeling the relief of being dry. The cabin is not yours, but it feels like home. Or perhaps it feels like what home should be: simple, warm, safe, with everything you need and nothing you do not. You pull the blanket a little closer and look out the window. The glass is streaked with water, and beyond it you can see only darkness, the shapes of trees perhaps, or the outline of mountains, but everything is softened and blurred by the rain. You cannot see far, and you do not need to. Waters is here, in this room, in this moment, in the warmth that surrounds you. A lamp glows on the table beside you, its light soft and golden, not harsh or bright. Illuminates a small circle around you, the blanket, your hands, the edge of the window frame, and leaves the rest of the room in comfortable shadow. You do not need to see everything. You only need to see enough to feel safe. And tonight, that is exactly what you have. You reach out and touch the lamp, feeling its warmth, and you think about light, how it has been a source of comfort and safety for humans for thousands of years, how a single flame or a single bulb can push back the darkness, how light does not eliminate darkness, but makes it bearable, makes it safe, makes it something you can coexist with rather than something you must. You look at your hands in the lamplight, how they look different in this warm, golden glow, how the shadows fall across them, how they seem older and wiser and more peaceful than they do in the harsh light of day. You think about all the things these hands have done, the work they have performed, the people they have touched, the objects they have held, and you feel a deep appreciation for them, for their strength, for their gentleness, for their ability to feel and to create and to create and to comfort. The rain continues its steady rhythm. Tap, tap, tap on the roof. A soft hiss as it slides down the window. The occasional sound of water dripping from the eaves onto something below. Perhaps a stone. Perhaps a wooden deck. And each drop makes a small, clear note that joins the larger symphony of the storm. You listen more carefully now, and you begin to distinguish different sounds within the rain. There is the steady drumming on the roof, not loud, but constant, like a heartbeat. There's the softer sound of rain hitting the ground outside, and the even softer sound of it hitting leaves or grass. There's the sound of water running in small streams, perhaps down a path, perhaps along the edge of the cabin. And all of these sounds blend together into something that is not noise, but music, not chaos, but order, not disturbance, but peace. You close your eyes and let the sound wash over you. You do not need to analyze it. You do not need to understand it. You only need to hear it, to feel it, to let it become part of the background of your evening, like the crackling of the fire or the soft creak of the floorboards when you shift in your chair. Rain, fire crackling, soft wind. You turn away from the window and look at the fire. It has burned lower now, but it is still warm, still alive. And you watch the flames move in slow, hypnotic patterns. They do not rush. They do not leap or dance wildly. They simply burn, steady and patient, as if they understand that tonight is not about excitement or drama, but about quiet, about rest, about the simple act of being warm. You stand up slowly, letting the blanket fall from your shoulders, and you walk to the fireplace. The heat reaches you before you get close. and you hold your hands out to it, feeling the warmth spread through your fingers and up your arms. Your skin, which was cool from sitting by the window, begins to warm, and you feel a deep sense of comfort settle into your bones. You look at the logs in the fire, how they glow orange and red at the edges, how the flames curl around them, how they slowly transform from wood into light and heat. Someone built this fire for you, or perhaps you built it yourself earlier, and now it is doing its job, keeping you warm, keeping you safe, keeping the darkness and the cold at bay. You think about fire, how it has been a companion to humans for thousands of years, how it has provided warmth and light and a place to gather, how it has been both friend and foe, both life giver and destroyer. But here, in this fireplace, contained and controlled, fire's only friend, only life giver, only warmth and light and comfort. You feel grateful for its presence, for its constancy, for the way it reminds you that even in the darkest, coldest, wettest night, there is always a way to create warmth, always a way to push back the darkness, always a way to find comfort. You watch the flames for a long time, and you notice how they never stay the same, how they flicker and dance and change, how they are always in motion, always alive, always responding to the air and the wood and the conditions around them. Yet, despite this constant change, the fire itself remains constant. It continues to burn, continues to provide warmth, continues to be there for you, reliable and steady and true. You think about how you too are constantly changing, constantly in motion, constantly responding to the conditions around you. Yet you also remain constant in some essential way. Remain yourself. Remain who you are at your core. You add another log to the fire if one is needed, or you simply watch the existing logs burn. Either way, the fire continues, and you return to your chair, pulling the blanket around you again, and you feel the warmth of the fire on your face and the cool of the window at your back, and the combination is perfect. You sit there for a long time, watching the fire, feeling its heat, listening to its soft crackle and pop. Sometimes a log shifts and sparks fly up, and you watch them dance in the air before they fade and disappear. Sometimes the flames grow taller for a moment, reaching up toward the chimney, and then they settle back down, content to burn slowly and steadily. You think of how many fires have burned in this fireplace, how many people have sat where you are sitting, watching the same flames, feeling the same warmth, listening to the same rain outside. You are not the first to find shelter here. You will not be the last. And that thought, too, is comforting. The blanket you are wrapped in is thick and soft, and you pull it tighter around your shoulders. It smells of wood smoke and clean fabric. And when you bury your face in it for a moment, you feel like you are hiding from the world, like you are in a cocoon of warmth and safety. You do not need to hide, but it feels good to have the option. To know that you can pull the blanket over your head if you want to, and then the world will still be there when you come out. But for a little while, you can be completely alone, completely safe, completely at rest. Rain, fire crackling, soft rune tone after a while. You feel the need for something warm to drink. You stand up again and walk to the small kitchen area, just a corner of the cabin. Really? With a stove and a sink and a few shelves. You fill a kettle with water and set it on the stove, and you wait for it to boil. While you wait, there are jars of herbs on the shelves, and a few mugs hanging from hooks, and a small basket of fruit on the counter. Everything is simple. Everything is enough. You do not need a large kitchen or many ingredients. You only need hot water and perhaps some tea, and you have both. You open one of the jars and smell the herbs inside. Perhaps chamomile, perhaps lavender, perhaps something else entirely. The scent is strong and clean, and it reminds you of gardens and fields and places where things grow wild and free. You think about the person who gathered these herbs, who dried them, who stored them here, and you feel a connection to them, as if you were sharing in their work, their care, their attention to the small details that make life beautiful. You look at the mugs hanging from their hooks, how they are simple and functional, not fancy or expensive, but beautiful in their simplicity, in their purposefulness, in their ability to hold warmth and comfort. You think about how often in life you are told that you need more things, more money, more success, more everything. But here, in this simple kitchen, with these simple tools, you have everything you need. About quantity, but about quality. Not about having. The kettle begins to whistle softly, and you pour the hot water into a mug. You add a tea bag or some loose leaves, perhaps chamomile, perhaps something herbal and calming. And you watch as the water changes color, slowly, gently, like the way the light changes outside as the rain continues to fall. You carry the mug back to your chair, and you hold it in both hands, feeling the warmth spread through your palm. You take a slow sip, and the tea is hot but not scalding, and it tastes of herbs and honey and something else. Perhaps the memory of other quiet nights, perhaps simply the comfort of holding something warm on a rainy evening. You sit with the tea for a long time, sipping it slowly, letting it warm you from the inside out. The rain continues outside. The fire continues in the fireplace. You continue here in this chair, in this moment, and nothing needs to change. You hold the mug in both hands, and you notice how your fingers fit around it, how the warmth spreads from the ceramic into your skin, how the steam rises and disappears into the air. You take another sip, and this time you pay attention to the taste, the herbs, the honey, the way it feels going down your throat, warm and smooth and comforting. You think of all the times you have had tea on rainy nights in different places, with different people or alone, and you realize that this moment is connected to all of those moments, that there is a thread running through your life made of warm drinks and quiet evenings and the sound of rain. When the tea is gone, you hold the empty mug for a little while longer, feeling the last of its warmth, reluctant to let it go. Finally, you set it on the table beside you, and you pull the blanket around you again, and you settle back into your chair, and you listen to the rain. It has not stopped. It shows no sign of stopping, and you are glad because you do not want it to stop. You want it to continue, to play its gentle song, to remind you that you are safe inside while the world outside is being washed clean. Rain, fire, soft kitchen sounds. When you finish your tea, you set the mug aside and look around the room again. There is a small bookshelf against one wall filled with old, well-loved books. You walk over to it and run your fingers along the spines, feeling the texture of the covers. Some smooth, some rough, all worn from being opened many times. You choose a book almost at random, or perhaps you choose one whose title calls to you and you carry it back to your chair. You do not need to read it. You only need to hold it, to feel its weight in your hands, to know that it is there if you want it, but you do open it and you read a few pages, and the words are gentle and slow, matching the pace of the rain outside. You notice the paper, how it feels under your fingers, how it smells of age and ink, and the countless hands that have held it before you. You notice the typeface, how it is clear and readable, how it guides your eye across the page, how it makes the act of reading effortless and enjoyable. You notice the binding, how it holds the pages together, how it has been repaired perhaps, how it shows signs of use and love and care. You think about books, how they are portals to other worlds, other times, other minds, how they allow you to travel without moving, to learn without being taught, to experience without risk. You think about all the books you have read in your life, all the stories you have entered, all the characters you have met, all the places you have visited, all the ideas you have encountered. Each book has changed you in some small way, has added something to who you are, has expanded your understanding of the world, and of yourself. And this book, too, will add something, will change you, will become part of the fabric of your being, woven into the story of your life. The book tells a story, perhaps about another cabin, perhaps about another rainy night, perhaps about something completely different. But the story does not matter as much as the act of reading does. You are here in this warm place with this book, and the rain is falling outside. And for a little while, you can forget about everything else. You read for a long time, losing yourself in the words, forgetting about the rain and the fire, and everything else except the story unfolding on the page. The words are gentle, the sentences are long and flowing, and they match the pace of your breathing, the pace of the rain, the pace of the evening itself. You read it about characters who are also finding shelter, or about places that are also warm and safe, or about moments that are also quiet and peaceful. And you feel a connection to them, as if you are all part of the same story, all seeking the same thing: rest, peace, a moment of stillness. You read until your eyes grow heavy, and then you close the book and set it on the table beside you. You do not need to finish it tonight. You can return to it tomorrow or the next day or whenever you are ready. The book will still be there. The cabin will still be here. The rain will have stopped, perhaps, but the peace will remain. You run your hand over the cover of the book, feeling its texture, and you think of all the hands that have held it before you, all the eyes that have read these same words, all the minds that have been transported by this story. The book is old, but it is not fragile. It has been loved, but it has not been destroyed. It has been read many times, but it still has more to give. You like that? You like the idea that things can be used and loved and still remain whole, still remain beautiful, still remain useful. Rain, pages turning, fire crackling. You return your attention to the window and the rain. You have been here for hours now, or perhaps it has only been minutes. Time moves differently in a place like this, where there are no clocks and no schedules and no one waiting for you to be somewhere else. You watch the water slide down the glass, and you notice how each drop follows its own path, sometimes joining with other drops, sometimes staying separate, always moving downward, always finding its way to the bottom of the window and then disappearing. You could watch this for a very long time. You could watch it until the rain stops, or until you fall asleep, or until morning comes. There is no hurry. There is no deadline. There is only the rain and the window and you. You notice how the drops reflect the light from the lamp, how they catch the golden glow and hold it for a moment before letting it go. how they create tiny prisms of light that shift and change as the water moves. You notice how some drops move quickly, racing down the glass, while others move slowly, taking their time, and how both speeds are beautiful, both are right, both are part of the same pattern. You think about water, how it falls from the sky, how it runs down mountains, how it finds its way to rivers and oceans, how it evaporates and rises again to become clouds and then rain. You think about how you are part of this cycle too, how you drink water, how it becomes part of you, how you release it back into the world, how it continues its journey long after you are gone. The rain outside is not separate from you. It is part of the same system, the same cycle, the same great flow of life that connects everything to everything else. You feel a deep sense of belonging, not to this cabin specifically, though you are grateful for it, but to something larger, something that includes the rain and the mountains and the trees and the fire and you. You are not alone. You are not separate. You are part of a vast interconnected web of existence. And tonight, in this moment, you can feel it. You can sense it. You can know it in your bones. You think about the people you love, where they are tonight, whether they are safe and warm, whether they have a place to shelter from whatever storms they might be facing. You send them a silent wish, not a prayer, not a demand, just a gentle thought. You hope they are well. You hope they have moments of peace. And then you let the thought go, and you return to the sound of the rain and the warmth of the fire and the simple fact of being here. Now, in this safe place, you think about your own life, the choices you have made, the paths you have taken, the moments that have led you here to this cabin on this rainy night. You do not regret anything. You do not wish anything were different. You simply acknowledge that your life has been what it has been, and that it has brought you here, and that here is exactly where you need to be. You do not need to understand why. You do not need to know what comes next. You only need to be here, now, in this moment, and let everything else fall away. You think about time, how it seems to move differently in a place like this, where there are no clocks and no schedules, and no one waiting for you to be somewhere else. An hour might feel like a minute, or a minute might feel like an hour, and it does not matter which is which. Time is not a constraint here. Time is a gift, and you can use it however you want, to read, to think, to sit and do nothing at all. There is no waste. There is no hurry. There's only the present moment, stretching out before you like an endless, peaceful road. Rain, soft wind, fire, light. When you are ready, You stand up and walk to the small bedroom area of the cabin. There is a bed there, simple but comfortable, with thick blankets and soft pillows. You do not need to rush to it. You can take your time. The rain will still be falling when you lie down, and it will still be falling when you wake up, and there is no reason to hurry. You pull back the covers and sit on the edge of the bed. The mattress is firm but not hard, and it holds your weight comfortably. You run your hand over the blanket. It is soft, perhaps wool or cotton, and it smells clean, like fresh air and sunshine, even though it has been inside this cabin for who knows how long. You look around the bedroom. It is small, like the rest of the cabin, but it has everything you need: a bed, a window, a place to put your clothes. The walls are made of the same wood as the rest of the cabin, and they glow softly in the light from the other room. You can see the firelight flickering on the walls, and you can hear the rain on the roof, and you feel like you are in a cocoon. A nest. A place that was made specifically for rest. You lie down slowly, letting your body sink into the mattress. You pull the covers up around you, and the weight of them is reassuring, not heavy, but present, like a hand resting on your shoulder. You turn on your side, or you lie on your back, and you look up at the ceiling, or you look toward the window and you listen to the rain. It is still falling. Tap, tap, tap on the roof. A soft hiss as it slides down the window. The occasional drip from the eaves. You have heard these sounds all evening, and now they are your lullaby, your signal that the world outside is still there, still alive, still doing what it does, while you rest here, safe and warm. You turn on your side and pull your knees up slightly, or you stretch out on your back and let your arms rest at your sides. Either position is comfortable. Either position is right. You do not need to find the perfect way to lie. You only need to lie here in this bed, under these covers, and let your body find its own way to rest. You think about the day you have had, the journey that brought you here, the things you have seen, the people you have met or not met, the moments that have led to this one. You do not need to review it all. You do not need to analyze it. You can simply let it go. Let it settle. Let it become part of the past, and focus on the present moment, which is here, in this bed, listening to the rain. Rain, very soft fire. Silence, you close your eyes. Behind them, you can still see the fire, or rather, you can still feel its warmth, still remember its light. You can still hear the rain, and you can still feel the weight of the blankets, and you can still sense the safety of the cabin around you. Your breath begins to slow. You do not force it. You simply allow it to happen the way you allowed yourself to stay here tonight, the way you allowed the rain to fall outside while you remained dry and warm inside. Your shoulders relax, your jaw loosens, your hands, which were holding a blanket, release their grip and rest open at your sides. You think of the fire still burning in the other. You think of the book still on the table. You think of the rain still falling outside. None of these things need you. They will continue whether you are awake or asleep. And that thought is deeply comforting. You do not have to hold everything together. You do not have to keep watch. You can simply rest, and the world will still be there when you wake. Your body grows heavier in the best way, the way that means you are finally letting go. Your arms rest at your sides. Your legs are still. Your face is smooth, and your breathing is slow and even, like the rhythm of the rain. You think about the word enough. How often in life you feel that you do not have enough time, enough rest, enough peace. But here, in this cabin, on this rainy night, there's enough time. There is enough rest. There is enough peace to fill you and still have more left over. You do not need to take it with you. You only need to feel it now and trust that the feeling will remain somewhere inside you, like a well you can return to when the world becomes too loud or too fast. You think about gratitude, not as a list of things to be thankful for, but as a feeling, a deep sense of appreciation for this moment, this place, this opportunity to rest. You are grateful for the rain, for the cabin, for the fire, for the bed, for the blankets, for the simple fact of being alive and able to experience all of this. You do not need to express it. You do not need to write it down. You only need to feel it and let it fill you, and then let it go, knowing that gratitude, like peace, is not something you hold, but something you become. Rain, silence, very soft fire. The rain continues to fall. Tap, tap, tap on the roof. A soft hiss as it slides down the window. The occasional drip from the eaves. You are not listening to it anymore, not consciously, but it is still there, still playing its gentle song, still reminding you that you are safe, that you are protected, that the storm is outside and you are inside, warm and dry and at rest. Your thoughts grow softer. They drift like smoke from the fire, here for a moment, then gone, then here again in a different form. You do not follow them. You let them go. The cabin has taught you that tonight. Nothing needs to be held. Nothing needs to be solved. Everything can simply be. You feel the weight of the blanket. You feel the softness of the pillow. You feel the warmth of the room. and the sound of the rain and the deep, quiet peace that comes from knowing you are exactly where you need to be. You think about tomorrow, what you might do, where you might go, what the world will look like when the rain stops and the sun comes out. But you do not need to plan. You do not need to worry. Tomorrow will come when it comes, and you will deal with it then. For now, your only job is to rest, to sleep, to let your body and mind recover from whatever has brought you here. You think about the people who built this cabin, who chose this spot, who cut these logs, who built this fireplace, who made this bed. You do not know their names. You do not know their stories, but you feel connected to them, as if they built this place not just for themselves, but for anyone who needed shelter, anyone who needed rest, anyone who needed a moment of peace in a world that never stops moving. You are grateful to them, even though you will never meet them. And you send them a silent thank you, like a breath sent out into the rain. Sleep is coming. It is coming the way the rain came, slowly, gently, without force. You do not need to reach for it. You only need to allow. Let your breath slow a little more. Let your body sink a little deeper into the bed. Let the image of the fire fade into a soft orange glow. And then let the glow fade into nothing. You have had a long day, or perhaps a long week, or perhaps a long year. You have carried worries and responsibilities and the weight of the world on your shoulder. But tonight, in this cabin, in this bed, under these blankets, you can set it all down. Rain will wash it away. The fire will burn it to ash. The night will hold it, and when morning comes, you will be lighter, freer, ready to begin again. You think about all the things you have been carrying, the worries about the future, the regrets about the past, the responsibilities that never seem to end, the expectations that weigh you down. You do not need to solve them tonight. You do not need to figure them out. You can simply set them down, like you would set down a heavy bag, and let your shoulders relax. Let your back straighten. Let your body remember what it feels like to be free of weight. You think about the people who depend on you, who look to you for answers, who expect you to be strong and capable and always ready. You love them, and you will be there for them. But tonight, in this moment, you can be just yourself, tired, vulnerable, human, in need of rest. You do not need to be anything for anyone else. You only need to be here, in this bed, under these blankets, listening to the rain, allowing yourself to rest. You think about the future, all the things you need to do, all the decisions you need to make, all the challenges you need to face. But the future is not here yet. It is still out there, beyond the rain, beyond the darkness, waiting for you to arrive. You do not need to meet it tonight. You can let it wait, let it rest, let it be patient while you do the same. For now, sleep is coming. The rain is still falling. The fire is still burning. The cabin is still warm. And you are safe. You are protected. You are exactly where you need to be. Let the rain go. Let the fire go. Let the cabin and the bed and the blankets go. They are not lost. They are simply resting the same way you are resting now. And when you wake, the rain may have stopped, or it may still be falling, but the peace will still be here. In this room, in this bed, in the quiet place behind your eyes. Good night.